I'm Matt.
And I'm PJ.
And today we've got a Brinkley Z3610 here, and we're going to be installing easy starts on their low profile Furrion air conditioners. So first things first, grab your Microware Easy Start Breeze model and your Mobile Solar Consulting install manual. And both of these will be linked in the description. And other than that, you'll want to start by pulling off the cover, removing the cap on the compressor terminal, and then removing the front of the box that holds the capacitor. Next, you're going to want to determine if you have a start capacitor. So if you do, number one, you'll see an additional, usually a cylindrical shaped item in this box, and it will appear on this wire diagram that's always on the box or the inside of the box for your capacitor junction box there. So in this case, we did not have one, so we didn't have to worry about that. The next step is going to be figuring out where to locate your Easy Start. Right? You're going to want to mount that. And in this case, we've chosen to mount it basically with Velcro to the back of the styrofoam. We're not going to mount it right now, but we want to do that so that we can route our wiring into the junction box here in a way that we're happy with. Because if you've made all these connections and you get to the end and you've not routed your wires in an okay way, you're going to have to then move this and start all over. So with that in mind, let's get started.
So first thing we want to do before we start messing with the capacitor is to actually make sure it's discharged. It should be in this case, but I like to double check just to be safe. So an easy way to do that is take your multimeter. We're going to set it to volts AC, and then you just take the two leads and you're going to tap one of the connectors at a time, or both of the connectors at a time, and kind of rotate it like that. So you're basically bridging between those different connectors. And if you do that a couple times, it should be good. That's going to be discharged.
First things first, we're going to find the white wire on the compressor. We're going to try our best to follow it to the capacitor, but there's 4 white wires and we're not going to know for sure which is which. So we're going to take it off with our best guess and then double check with our continuity test. Awesome, so we've got the right wire.
Next step is to connect the brown wire from the Easy Start to that white wire that we just disconnected. Next thing we want to do is take the white wire from the Easy Start and put it back onto the capacitor where the white wire was that we just removed. So that's going to be this one right here. And there we go. So the next step is to find the red wire that's coming off of the compressor, which again, there's only 3 wires on here, white, blue, red. It's going to loop its way through here, and it should be this one right here. Another step you can take is obviously to check for continuity to make sure that is the same wire, but in this case, we already know that it is. I don't actually have to disconnect this. What I need to do is take the orange wire from the Easy Start and put it on that same terminal. So it's going to go right here. Okay, so the next step is we need to actually splice in this black wire from the Easy Start into one of the blue wires in this electrical box. The way to make sure it's the right one is there needs to be continuity between this and the blue wire on the compressor. So this blue wire right here. It varies from brand to brand. In this case, there's actually 2 blue wires going into like a dual spade connector on the inside there. So this is definitely a case where we want to check for continuity. So I'm going to unplug this one.
And that was the one on top.
And that was the one on top, yeah.
Nice.
And we have continuity. So that's the correct one. So we're just going to splice this using a 3-way Wago. I'm going to cut it like right there. And then we'll put this black wire right in the middle. Nice and tight.
And then we'll reattach that blue wire to where we disconnected it from.
Right in there.
Nice and snug.
Okay, so that's basically it for the wiring. It's pretty simple. All we really need to do now is put the capacitor back inside here. There's a little clamp, thank you for the word, which I'll screw back in. And then I'll just probably zip tie these wires nice and tight. And then over at the easy start, we're gonna attach this with Velcro or command strips right up against there. And then we'll zip tie those wires nice and tight so it can't go flying around.
We're also going to reconnect wires here and put the cover back on that terminal. And then important step that's easy to forget is put the cover back on your AC unit before you try testing if the Easy Start is effective. Otherwise, you may run into some issues. Similar to the way you'll need to watch this video 5 times before you actually learn how to do this, the Easy Start is the same way. It wants to watch the air conditioner's compressor start at least 5 times before it's ready to perfectly work its magic. So you can either let that happen naturally over time without expecting perfect results on the first go, or you can kind of make that happen by just turning your air conditioner on and off 5 times and waiting at least 5 minutes between cycles. We also wanted to point out this has been a super fast how-to video, not really a thorough understanding of what we're doing. So if you want more details, be sure to check out the installation guide linked in the description. I'm Matt.
And I'm PJ.
This is Mobile Solar. See you next time.